Right, we are back with another episode of Hook Golf's concept of cool story, bro. And today we have a very, very special guest, someone who I've admired for a very long time, Mr. Christian Hafer. How's it going, dude? How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. It's afternoon here, so can't complain. Thanks for getting up early and doing this, dude.
Oh, no worries. I'm always up early. Babies keep us up. So,
Yeah, how's dad life going for you, man?
uh, it's aggressive, but
Yeah.
it's good. Good.
Oh, rad, man. No, that's awesome. Yeah, like I said, thank you so much for coming on here. I've been following you for such a long time now, like the beautiful images that you've created. And, I just wanted the chance for you to tell your story about how you got into golf, photography, talk about Burning Cart Society, and, give the people what they want, the Christian story, pretty much. And kind of getting into it, dude.
I don't know if people really want that, but we'll give it to them.
Oh, exactly, man. And so how did everything start for you, dude? How did you start your journey into golf?
I mean, I think like a lot of kids, I was introduced to golf pretty young. So my dad was a golfer. So when I was young, and I'm 7, 8, 9, I started playing, and then I stopped, and probably picked up a club when I was maybe 15, 16. I had moved back in with my dad at that point. And so just kind of going out having fun, I would steal his clubs and go play golf. And I wasn't a big golfer at the time. I was doing a lot of, I was living in Colorado, so a lot of snowboarding, skateboarding, and doing other stuff. So it wasn't high on my priority list. And then I got a job years later in the golf industry, making golf clubs, and then working as an assistant at a course, and
Oh, amazing.
then kind of like fell out of love with it, and then fell back into it after I moved away from, at this point I was living in Philly, and I moved out of the city, didn't have much else to do, so I started golfing again, and that's kind of where I really got back into it.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. And what age were you when you were doing the whole club building stuff?
I was in my early 20s, so I was pretty young. I'd moved out to Oregon and needed a job, and so lied, said I could make clubs, and then figured out how to do it.
Oh, dude, that's rad. That's really cool, man. So you just kind of
Yeah,
figured it out as you went along.
yeah, I was pretty good at it. Apparently, that I didn't get fired in the first week.
Oh,
So
sweet. Oh, dude, no, that's awesome, man. That's very cool that you went into the club building aspect of it. And I think that's what a lot of people aspire to do as well. And so, did you kind of when you were doing the club building job as well? Did you play golf at the same time?
yeah, I mean, I had to like I said, I had kind of played before, and I had enough skill set to kind of get me around, but I started playing more just because I was golfing, and I wanted to keep my job. So I started learning more and more about golf, and actually, like, from my perspective of fitting people,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
kind of needed to know what I was talking about. So I got pretty immersed in it. I got fairly decent at golf to a point where I then moved to a course in the town I was at, and started working as kind of like a second assistant, and learning the golf industry, and learned very quickly that I didn't want to do that. And
Yeah,
I wanted no parts of the golf industry.
yeah,
So, it, I I got real into golf, moved back from Oregon to the East Coast, so to Philly at that point. Had a job kind of lined up to be an assistant, first assistant at a club in Philadelphia, and just it just wasn't what I wanted to do, so I stopped doing that. And really from that point forward, didn't really care about golf too much. I would play every once in a while, but that was kind of my mid to late 20s, probably my mid 20s.
yeah.
And then a few years later, I kind of went back to it. So it's been one of those things I've constantly gravitated towards, and then always left, and then came back, and then would go away from. And I don't really know why. Maybe I think at first it was that I had a lot of conflicts with the culture of golf. Obviously being somebody from like a different background, and what I grew up on, and the things I was into didn't really meld with my perception of golf, which, obviously has evolved. And I think golf's perception to the general public has evolved quite drastically in the last few years. So it's kind of
Yeah.
cool to see.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the same as me as well. I come from a skate, snowboard, ski background as well, and I never thought golf was not cool, but I just got a bit of a different vibe to it to what I was used to, such as yourself. And yeah, no, again, gravitated towards it again a couple years ago, and that's cool that you kind of went away from it, but it was always there in the back of your mind, or in the background a little bit as well. And how did you get into photography? When did you start your journey into photography as well?
When I was 15, so my freshman year of high school,
Yeah.
towards the end, later part of the year, we had a photography program, and because I habitually skipped school and didn't want to go to any classes, the only ones that I did well at were art classes. So I took as many as I could, and I took a photography class that, that kind of was where it clicked for me. And I just moved to Colorado, didn't really snowboard, didn't know what I was doing, but all of the kids that I met at the skate park in the summer when I moved there, obviously all snowboarded. So I just needed an excuse to hang out with them. And so I was like, okay, well, they're all really good. I'll start taking photos of them, and then I can hang out with them. And that was my excuse to myself to get into photography. And then once I found photography, then I just kind of fell in love with it. So I've been doing it since I was 15 years old.
Oh, rad, man. That's really cool. And so you started off when you were 15. When did you kind of know that you wanted a career in photography?
Probably when I was at least 16. I mean,
That
as soon as
fast?
by the end of that year, and some of the people that I knew, and some of the events that I was able to get access to, and like just going to some of the bigger competitions that were in Vail at the time and like shooting them, I knew that I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I knew that I wanted to just, go out with my friends and document what we were doing. And, we would go slide rails at night. We would do all that kind of stuff. And so video was always kind of a thing, but at the time, I mean, I was still learning on film, and digital hadn't really broken through as like the dominant force. And so me having access to a dark room, I used to steal film from Walmart
Oh,
and
nice.
get it developed there and still the negatives because I couldn't
That's
afford to
very
pay for it.
skateboard of you.
So Walmart, thank you very much. You might want to bleep that so you don't get sued. But when I was a kid, that's what I used to do is I would go in there and like just get as much film as I could, shoot as much as I could, and go in and develop the negative or go and process and make prints in the darkroom we had there, and
Yeah.
kind of had a free reign because not a lot of other kids were using the darkroom as much. So I would just go in there on breaks. I would skip other classes and just go into the darkroom and like make a print and just kind of experiment with, different times, dodging and burning, and like just trying to figure out what I was doing, with no real oversight. And, back then it was like the internet wasn't what it is today.
Yeah.
God, I sound so old. But like that wealth of information that you have now, like you couldn't go on YouTube like you have now and like just learn how to shoot film like in an afternoon. You had to kind of just figure it out. So it was that whole process of, having to bulk load your film to processing it to, to making a print that like I fell in love with that process of it.
Yeah.
And it was the only thing that up until that point, and really since then, has been able to like, kind of grab my attention, and I can be solely focused on photography. Whereas I'll be on one thing for 5 minutes and then leave and go do something else, and the ADD kicks in. But with photography, I'll be able to walk around with a camera in my hand for an entire day and just be immersed in it. So I knew really early on that it's what I wanted to do. I just didn't know where or how I wanted to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's amazing. And like I said before, your images that you take are absolutely stunning. They're incredible. And
Thank you.
how did everything come about then with golf.com? Because you're the chief photographer for them.
Yeah, so that was last year. I guess it was last
Yeah.
year. They hired me for, they said, hey, you know, do you want to go to the Masters and shoot it? It's like,
Oh,
okay,
amazing.
sure. They were like, and I asked, what do you want me to do? And they said, just do what you want to do. Just shoot whatever you want to shoot, like whatever, and they said, you don't have to worry about the tournament, from like a traditional standpoint. You can shoot whatever you want to shoot. And so going into it and, you know, not knowing what I should have known was a benefit.
Yeah.
And kind of making those mistakes and, chirping along the way, especially at Augusta where, the team that runs the photo and photographer, that little world, they are extremely experienced, they're extremely professional, and they're very serious about what they do. Because photography has always meant a lot to that tournament. It helped, obviously the media, but photography especially has kind of helped promote the Masters to, what it is now and then TV. But so they have this new media center. We walk in and it's like, I'm kind of blown away at what we have access to. Our workstations are incredible, our lockers, everything's amazing. And to then have no rules and nobody saying like, hey, go get this photo was kind of unreal. The first 2 days I didn't know what to do because there were so many photos I wanted to take. I didn't know where to look.
Oh,
And
wow.
as I kind of got, my legs underneath of me and I started kind of thinking about what I wanted to do, it all kind of came together. And so from that point, I think their experiment, which was, let's see what Hafe does and hopefully unscrew it up, so from that, I went and shot the PGA at Bethpage and then the US Open at Pebble, and then did some other stuff. And then towards the end of the year, we all kind of like came back together. They offered me the job and here I am.
Oh, dude, that's incredible. Because to be able to shoot those tournaments as well is, that's a dream come true to so many photographers and so many, just people as well. And
Yeah.
the Masters, was that the first tournament you'd ever been to photograph?
Yeah, I mean, I was doing a lot of sports stuff prior to that in Philly. So I was shooting, some NBA, NFL, college sports. So I knew what I was doing when it comes to, working a professional event,
Yeah.
but I had never shot a golf tournament. Up until that point, largely what I was known for, especially in golf, was, landscapes and some lifestyle stuff, but it was pretty much just me documenting my evolution through the game and my learning of the game.
Yeah, definitely.
And I hadn't shot a pro tournament. And so it was like, okay, full bore right into the Masters. Tiger wins, which is incredible to be there for that. It's my first Masters in person. So it kind of was like, it was pretty unreal. I still am like a little dumbfounded that I actually was there and actually got to shoot that. So
yeah, that's crazy. I can see your Masters hat in the background as well, and it's awesome stuff.
that's it's Masters green.
Oh, is it? No, what's the one on the
Yeah.
other side of you? Is that a Masters hat?
This one,
Yeah.
that's Burning Cart.
Oh, that is
And
Burning. Oh, I thought that was
that's
the Masters one.
undefeated. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. No, and what? So out of the three, so you did the Masters, PGA, and US Open. I'm guessing you're probably gonna say Masters was your favorite, but what was the atmosphere for all three of them? Was the Masters pretty much on top of everything?
Yeah, the Masters was really special. Obviously it's like my first one. Tiger wins. My family came down for a day or two, and we were able to get them in for one of the practice rounds. So, my daughter, who was a baby at the time, my son and my wife and my father-in-law were all there, which was kind of cool. And the experience, Augusta was very odd that year because there was a lot of rain, and so patrons were there, but then they were out. We were stopping play was getting called early because storms were moving through. They moved up Sunday. They pushed them to threesomes, and so it was very odd, but going into Sunday was kind of one of the more magical Sundays.
Oh wow.
It was the storm was threatening all day, so there was kind of this tension in the air. It was a little bit cooler than it had been. And then obviously everything that happened with Tiger and all the dramatics there, it was like the roars that you would hear from the crowd when somebody would make a move, or, you know, if one of the guys hit it in the water, and just kind of what happened. And you could feel it in a way that, you know, I'd been to a few sporting events, but nothing like that. And, you know, US Open was amazing at Pebble. It's such a great venue. Like the weather was great for photography all week, but you know, PGA was hilarious. Like the fans there were amazing. It was pretty funny. The next day, we were doing a shoot with Roy, and he walked in, and somebody asked him, like, you know, you looking forward to the Ryder Cup? And he's like, no, I'm not at all. The fans were pretty brutal, and I can't wait for the New York crowd to show up for the Ryder Cup in a few years. But those two events pale in comparison to what Augusta was that year, just because, you know, Sunday was like one of the all-time finishes in any golf tournament. And so to be there for that was pretty special. Plus it's a really good golf course to shoot.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. I can imagine just watching. I remember watching it on TV and watching Tiger Woods win. It was, you know, that went down in history. So that's an incredible, you know, moment that you got to share, you know, with the patrons there, and actually be there in person. That's amazing. And let's talk about Burning Cart Society. So, sure. When did you start it up?
Maybe 2 years ago.
2 years ago now. Yeah.
2.5, something like that.
And what was the idea for Burning Cart Society?
Well, it wasn't really like a joke, but it was kind of like I had this hot brain idea, just for a logo that I thought was interesting, which was the cart on fire.
Yeah.
Which, you know, kind of, I think people take too literally, you know, and I get it. Like, it's a cart on fire, and some people, especially at the beginning, were pretty mad at us.
Oh wow.
For doing it.
What were people saying, you know, about
had an
it?
issue. Well, you know, I don't know. People just get mad at whatever. It's the internet. So,
yeah.
I don't know. But they would get mad. They thought we were being militant, or they thought we were, you know, promoting something that excluded people and whatever. And really the whole idea behind Burning Cart was really not to exclude anybody. It was really just kind of challenge things within golf. And I didn't like anything that was out. Like, there were no t-shirts out there that I wanted to wear. You know, I wear band t-shirts 99% of the time, and I didn't want to wear any of the golf shirts or anything that was really out there. So I was like, well, I'll just make my own with what I want. And, you know, we've got a caddy logo that's a rip on circle jerks, and, you know, we've got a black flag, and we've got all these kind of influences to the music I grew up on and the things that I'm into. And that was really the idea, was let's just do what we want to do. And I still have no idea, but I had no idea what I was doing. You know, I had printed shirts when I was in high school for friends or whatever, but I didn't know how to build a brand, and I still don't think I do. And that's kind of the benefit of it, is I wouldn't say that we're trying to make Burning Cart anything other than what it is at any given time, which is a really odd statement. Like, you know, I might drop something in a month, I might not. It just depends on if I'm busy enough to be distracted with whatever else is going on, or if I have time to do it. And, you know, over time, we really thought about it. And my buddy Joe, who, like, I use as a really good sounding board, because he grew up in hardcore, and he understands golf, and he understands, you know, kind of the mindset that we have, which is, where does golf, like, how do we help the world around us with this? Like, yeah, of course we could make a couple bucks off of it, and that's fine, but really the idea behind Burning Cart is to start introducing people that we grew up with, start making them look at golf and say, like, oh shit, there's hardcore kids that play golf. You know, there's, like, you can be an old, like, let's be honest, I'm a middle-aged white dude who lives in the suburbs now with kids. Like most of my friends look at me and are like, what happened? And I play golf and I'm a golf photographer. So, but I can still also, I can be all those things and I can still be what I was when I grew up and be into the things that I'm into and, have the ideals that I have. And we figured why not just throw it at a golf brand and make stuff that we wanted. And so that's where we're at.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's a very, very cool outlook for what you guys are creating with it. And no, look forward to see what happens with that as well. It's yeah, a great idea, a really cool idea.
Yeah, thank you.
And I mean, when we were talking on Instagram, you said that you got some trips coming up soon. What's next for you? Photography wise and golf wise.
Well, it's kind of weird with COVID
Yeah.
and travel. I've been trying to like stay away from airplanes and just drive as much as possible. But there's a couple trips coming up. I'm think next year, hopefully next year, I'll be launching a book of just kind of my photography, which is mostly about my experience with the game of golf and the people within golf,
Yeah.
more so than the game itself. It's more the individuals that I find interesting or I've met along the way or whatever. And it's something that if I can figure out how to make happen, I will. So I'm going to try and focus a little bit more time on that. So if I have to go, to Michigan for work, add a day on and just go find some people that I find interesting that, no one might ever know who they are. They might not look at the book, but I think they're an interesting person or they've got a great story to tell or, they do this for golf or that for golf. And then I think I've got to go to California. I've got to go to Michigan, Virginia. Like travel doesn't stop. I won't be at the US Open this year, which is kind of a bummer, but
It is what it is with COVID, isn't it? Yeah, I think COVID's put
yeah,
a stop.
it's kind of made this year really odd for tournaments. Rightfully so. Like, everybody's got to stay smart, stay safe. And so, and if I don't have to get tested every week, I'm 100% fine with that. So
yeah, it's have you had the test?
oh yeah.
Oh, it's horrible,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's
It
absolutely
sucks.
horrible.
It sucks.
I had one a couple months ago, and yeah, literally, like I don't want another one. That
Yeah.
sucked so bad, so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's cool. That sounds really cool about the book, though. Best of luck with that. That sounds really
Yeah. Thank you.
interesting.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
It might just turn into a zine.
Oh,
It might just be like 4 photocopy pages because I got too distracted and forgot about it. Or it could be a whole book. I don't know.
Either way, I'm sure it'll be absolutely amazing, dude. Yeah, it sounds really, really cool. And so, I mean, I've seen pictures of you and your son playing as well, because your son plays a little bit of golf as well. How much kind of golf do you get to play at the moment?
It's kind of odd. And yesterday was like a good example of, now working. I mean, even before I was working at Golf Mag, I was pretty much all of my time was dedicated to working in golf and making photos and doing all that. So I'd say over the last year or two, I didn't get to play a lot of golf. The question always came up, do you ever golf without your camera? And no, I don't. Even if like last night, like I always had this fear of like missing a shot. Like what if I'm out there golfing and something, the light's great or, something crazy happens. I need to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of went into this mindset of, I was working myself to death. I wasn't really liking the photos that I was making. I could tell that, I was kind of going through the motions and I was, if anything, just trying to like produce things that I thought people wanted versus, the stuff that I wanted to do, which is what got me to where I am. So I've been slowly trying to go back to that and make more time for myself to just go play. So like yesterday, dropped my son off at his soccer practice and shot over and played like a 4-hole loop and just put my headphones in, took my camera and like turned off all notifications and just went and played golf, and like thought about making pictures, thought about golf swings, and got back to what it was, which was nothing. Like I didn't have this forced, like I have to go out and make, content. I don't have to go out and make photos. I just could go out and take a couple pictures and like clear my mind. And so I've been making more of an effort to just go play golf with my friends, go play golf with my son. We took my wife and my daughter and my son and I all took her out for her first round of golf.
Oh,
She's
wow.
she's 2, so it's not, she made it about a hole, but she had a good time. We all went and like walked, and so now whenever she sees golf on the TV, or if I'm leaving, she's like, she talks about how she golfs and how she hits the ball so far. And
Oh, that's incredible.
so we as a family bond pretty heavily through the game of golf. It's a vehicle for us to kind of spend time together away from everything. And especially you're with COVID, we're all in the same house, and we have been for months and months. And there's unless I'm on the road for 2 or 3 days and I come back, it's like we're all on top of each other.
Yeah.
And so even being able to just get outside and like be around each other but not have to be on top of each other is a really good experience for us to just spend time together, not really having to like talk about anything, have fun, hit golf shots. Like, I'll play up on their tee box and play shots from there. And, I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about par. I just have fun. And I think that's kind of slowly crept through to him that golf can be more enjoyable than like, having to go grind, because he plays like junior tour stuff. So we have like a junior tournament around here where they do, I think he did like 8 or 10 events. And,
wow.
they go out, they play 9, they keep their own score, that whole thing. And what we want from him with golf is not to feel like he has to be good at it. We just want him to have fun. And so, when we warm up for golf, it's like we play games and I joke around with them, or like I'll hide a club.
Oh, wow. That's very
and he'll
cool.
get to the tee and he's like, oh crap. And I'm like, yeah, it's so like, I'll just mess with him, just kind of keep it like a little loose, or like he'll look over if he hits a bad shot and kind of look at me like, oh no. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, just go hit the next one. It's all right. So he's starting to kind of, you can see that it's really starting to get through to him that like, I can just go have fun out here with my friends. And half the time I think he forgets that he's even like keeping score, which is probably too far, but whatever.
No, that's awesome. That's cool that you keep it lighthearted as well. Because yeah, I mean, as a kid when I played, I got burnt out and I just didn't want to play anymore, and that's why I started skateboarding. So yeah, keeping it lighthearted.
Yeah,
I admire that. That's
exactly.
very, very cool, man. That's yeah, and it's great that he enjoys it and he's playing tournaments. How old's your son now?
He'll be 10 in December.
Oh wow, and playing tournaments already. That's incredible. That's very cool.
Yeah, he did like drive, chip, and putt, I think when he was like 5.
Wow.
And then the last 2 years he started doing like 9-hole tournaments. This was his first year that he was playing 9 holes by himself. Before he was like on a team and they would alternate,
Yeah.
which is a really good program, especially like get kids into, because they'll play 3 holes and then his teammates will play the other holes, so they're not getting too burnt out. The problem is like some of the rounds get a little long, but so their attention, you'll see kids just laying on the golf course,
Oh, wow.
bored out of their mind, because they have to stay there. But this event, it's the Lancaster Junior Tour. He goes out, plays 9. He's in a 2-some or 3-some with another boy, a girl, and they go out there and they like, it's cool to see. They like cheer each other on. If someone hits a bad shot, they like encourage each other. It's actually pretty incredible to see how much better humans these kids are than
Oh, it's crazy, right? Isn't it? Yeah, they've actually got a sense of camaraderie, and that's cool that they're cheering each other on. Because I know if I hit a bad shot with my buddies, I'm gonna get nothing but shit from them. So
yeah.
Oh, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, man. That's really cool. And so I mean, you travel a lot for your photography and for your job. Do you get to play the courses while you're there shooting as well?
Sometimes I think that's a big perception thing of people is, all I do is golf, and
And take
sometimes
photos,
I get
yeah.
to. I think most times, I'm fortunate enough to like I'll get 9 holes in if I can, but if I'm going to a photo shoot, the intent is, what kind of shoot is it? Is it a cover shoot? Is it instruction? Is it an editorial thing? Is it for my own stuff? Is it for my book? Is it for a travel series? Like there's all these different things that I do now that dictate, how much time I have.
Yeah.
And so, typically what I'll do is I'll go and shoot, like if I'm shooting a course, I'll go in the morning and obviously shoot sunrise. And then depending on what the day looks like if there's cloud cover and the light's not bad, I'll go shoot. At most I'll take like a half set and go walk holes and just take some photos and then get ready for the evening. But I'd say probably about 50-50. I get to play the courses or don't. And that's mostly just a matter of time. It's, I'm obviously fortunate because I get access to a lot of courses and I've been able to play a lot of great courses, both public and private. And, as a golf nerd and somebody that's really into architecture and, history and kind of the creative side of golf, which like I nerd out when I go to a golf course and I can see all these little nuances that an architect put in there. And then superintendents are coaxing back out of courses and trying to like maintain like those things. As a photographer, like interest me. I'm always trying to find those little things and show those off for a different angle and show features that I don't think most people kind of appreciate. Because they're probably better golfers and they hit it in the fairway, whereas I don't. So I get to see more of the outskirts. So for me, it's like, if I get an opportunity, I take advantage of it if I can. But, right now, like I said, work kind of comes first. And then, I'm fortunate where I live here. If I have time at home, like I can always get a game anywhere around like the Philadelphia area and go play some great golf and just kind of focus on playing golf. But I don't keep score. A
I
half
think
the
that's
time
the
I play
best
a half
way.
set. I like to have fun when I golf, and I'm around golf so much that to me it's like I don't care if what my handicap's at. I don't care what my swing looks like. I've never had a lesson. Um, I can I can move the ball around enough that I don't look like an idiot. But my whole thing has nothing to do with putting up a big number. I just want to go out and have fun, and I'll play matches with people, but I'm not going to at the end of the day be like, oh, I shot 80. I have no idea. I have a general idea, but it's more a matter of if I had a good time with the people I was with and like how much money I lost to whoever, which is usually the case for me.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the same outlook I have is I don't really keep score. I play a lot by myself, just get my downtime, my thinking time. And at the same time, if I play with buddies at the weekend, a lot of them are keeping score. I might keep score for like the first 3 holes if I've done all right on them. And then after that, I'm just done keeping score. Still got a smile on
Yeah.
face. And, I just don't want to get, cranky with the numbers. So, no, I
Yeah.
totally get it, man. I totally get it. And
Yeah.
where's the where's the best course you've played so far, and why was it the best course in your opinion?
Um, it's hard. It's hard. So I think it's like picking a favorite album. So I have like genres of albums that I'll like. I can't give you a favorite 5 albums, and I can't give you a favorite 5 courses, because I love it so much that like, well, private, public, East Coast, West Coast, link style, like my brain starts freaking out. But I think, one of my favorite courses is the old course is amazing just because, you kind of drive by it and you're like, what? Like, okay. Like I had a buddy once be like, dude, it's a literal dog park. Like what is so great about this place? And literally by the time you get to your first approach shot on one and you're trying to hit over the Swilken, you're like, you get it. And then you get out into the course and you're like, holy shit, like this is amazing. And just the way that it challenges you to perceive a golf course, especially as an American. Like we've grown up on very different golf. Very, 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 very different from Augusta, from the old course. It's more like that Augusta model of big, lush, big carries, and which is odd because Augusta originally didn't start out like that. But anyway, so if I look at the old courses, probably one of my favorites, Cypress, is amazing. The water holes are great, but the inland holes are some of the best. The routing's just incredible. And, I was fortunate enough to play that. But like even, I put up my local Muni as one of my favorite courses because of some of the memories that I have there, like going and playing. Austin and I used to go after school and would go play like a 6-7 hole loop, pretty much as many holes as we could get before there was no light.
Yeah.
And so just going out there and doing that with him, like, I love that course. If I stumbled over a bunch of money, I would buy it in a heartbeat. And that to me is a special place, but it's like, it's a shitty golf course, but I love it for the experience. The cover of Austin on the Golfers Journal is from that course. And so to me, there's like a direct tie of him, our experience, our bonding, and just going out and like listening to music. And, if you've ever been in Lancaster and around our golf course and you've heard Kids Bop blaring at like 8 p.m. in the summer, that's me. Sorry.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. That's
But yeah, so that's, to me, it's like you have experiences, and like Overlook is like, it's up there with Cypress to me because of the experience of playing with Austin so much. But Bandon's ridiculous. Even though according to home, I'm a vegan for loving Bandon, but whatever. Sand Valley is great. Like these kind of more modern resort courses that are starting to kind of push in that direction are phenomenal. Oakmont is ridiculous, but then you've got places like Bethpage is crazy good. And then there's Galen Hall, which is right down the street from me. I think I paid $25 to walk it.
Wow.
And it's a golden era course. It's got one of the oldest moat holes in the US. It's a Tillinghast, and I forget the other guy, but so 2 9 holes, one from like 1905 and one from 1925. And it's like this scruffy little golf course with super quirky holes. And it's one of my favorite golf courses I've ever played. Lulu is really good. Jeffersonville in Philadelphia. It's another $25 Donald Ross course that like you can't beat courses like that. Like, yes, Cypress is amazing, but like Jeffersonville is also amazing. The conditions are very different. The mystique about them is very different, but the quality of golf is still pretty high. And it's also your perception on what good golf is. And, as somebody who's been able to see a wide range of courses, I think golfers would be kind of better suited to tweak their mindset a little bit as to what good golf is. And good golf isn't always, the upper echelon courses. Yeah, they're good, but you can find some pretty amazing little golf courses out there that, are a little scruffy and a little quirky, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's what the golfer gets from the course. Like you said, it could be a scruffy course, but if you're having fun and you're getting the experience that you want from it, why not? It's always going to be a great time.
Exactly.
Oh no, that's awesome, man. And just a couple more things. Like, where do you think golf fashion's heading? I mean, obviously you photograph quite a lot. I've seen some of the stuff you've done with some of the pros and the brands. And where do you think it's going at the moment? Because obviously you like your band t-shirts. Burning Cart Society. It's quite a little bit more edgy and different. What do you think the future holds for it?
I mean, I am by no means a fashion guru. My style is eclectic at best, but I think if I look, if I look back into me getting into golf and what you had to wear, you had to wear a certain brand hat with, that golf club manufacturer on it. You had to have polos and all this other stuff, like you had to look a certain way.
Yeah, for sure.
And what I've noticed over really the last 2-3 years, it's really ramped up, and you've got a lot of these smaller brands starting to pop in, which are like bringing street style, which is kind of an overused term, I think, in golf right now.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people give some of these brands like, Manners and Rada and some of the smaller brands this like credit for being more than just a streetwear brand. Like there's more intent behind the products that are being dropped, and you're starting to see some of the bigger companies try and play catch up with that.
Yeah.
And they're trying to say, okay, obviously some of the bigger brands are doing a great job and like leading the way, but you've got these younger people just doing their own thing, and a predominantly difficult industry to create a brand. And so like they're just saying, screw it, we're going to do what we want to do, which is pretty incredible to see. And now you're starting to see all these other brands like Solo pop up and completely do their own thing with, obvious inspiration from very specific places, but like put it on a golf head. And for me, I think you're going to see more and more small brands popping up. And, that's a good thing, and it's maybe a bad thing. And I had this discussion with a few people recently, but I think you're going to see these smaller brands popping up, and you're going to see the better brands last. And some of the smaller brands, like anything, are just going to kind of get washed away. They're just not going to be able to cut it because what other brands are producing is so good.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see the bigger brands starting to adopt that mindset and start trying to play catch up with what a lot of these smaller brands are doing. And, the way fashion works and how far in advance you have to work to kind of predict things, like it's really interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next year or two, because, people are working on stuff now that'll drop in 2 years. And do these bigger brands have a temperature on what's going on? Can they see what's going to come down the pipe? I don't know. I think some of them will. Some of them do a great job. But it'll be interesting. I think we'll see more collabs with like outsider brands that their core is in golf. They don't really want to be in golf. You saw it with like Adidas and Palace.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great collection.
I think, yeah, it was phenomenal. And it was like a step in the right direction because it confused people on both sides, right? Like golfers were very confused by it. Skaters were confused by it. They were kind of like, what? But that's what you want, because you want to challenge that normalcy that sits within, both golf and skate, or wherever that brand's coming from. You want to challenge convention and say, like, we could take some of the stuff from golf and bring it in here, and we can take some of the stuff from skate and bring it in here. And so I'm excited to see more of that, but just from like different places, outside of, streetwear, quote unquote, and skate. I want to see, some surf brands and some stuff like that get more into it. But
yeah, that'd be great.
All in all, it's pretty cool right now. I think there's more options than there have ever been to not look like a stuffy nerd.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah, there's it's not, no one's really starting to look like the traditional golfer anymore, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, and there's something to be said for the tradition of golf and, some of the heritage that's there. And like, there are brands that do a really good job of taking the best aspects of golf fashion over the years and like retaining that, maybe updating it, maybe tweaking a little bit. And like, ultimately golf is golf, right? Like we have a certain look, and I used to like rebel against it, and I still do. Like, I wish I could just golf in a t-shirt every day, no matter where I'm at.
Yeah.
But I understand now, and just because I'm probably just getting old, but I understand now that, like tennis has its heritage, soccer has its heritage, golf has its heritage, and that's the heritage. And, from speaking specifically as a fashion standpoint, there are certain key pieces within golf fashion that will never go away.
Yeah.
Polo is that for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And it's, yeah, like you, I wish I could golf in a t-shirt all the time. Thankfully, the club that I'm a member at, they're a little bit laxed on the weekdays for me, which is great. But at the same time, I still respect it. So yeah, all good, man. And just the last thing before we time out is for anyone who's listening that's into photography, what's your kind of best advice to give them?
I get it a lot, and the questions always seem to relate around gear. People always want to know what camera I'm using or whatever, and I use a lot. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just use, like, I'll go for a month and just use one camera, one lens. And I wouldn't get so fixated on what your gear is. You know, people always ask for the best starter camera, and it's your budget. Like, how much can you afford?
Yeah.
You know, you might be loaded and be able to go get like a Leica. Most of us aren't. And so you might not be sure how much you want to put into it. So, you know, take a couple $100 and go buy whatever you can get and learn on it, and pick up books, read books, you know, look, I mean, especially now, go online and just, like, maybe don't go on Instagram. Maybe go look and seek out like good photographers that, you know, were around before Instagram, and, you know, learn about photography and composition and color, and, you know, trying to figure out an intent on what you want to do with it. And some people, they just want to go take cool photos when they play golf courses or other kids or whatever. But understanding how composition works, understanding what you can do within your frame and what you should do, is going to help you way more than having, you know, a $10,000 camera.
For sure.
Because I've seen people take bad photos with expensive cameras. Trust me.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I can imagine. It's yeah, no, it's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But that's great advice to give to people. And dude, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate the love and you coming on the show. And yeah, guys, definitely check him out. Check out his imagery if you haven't. You'll absolutely love it. And dude, what's the plug? What's the website or the Instagram that people can find you at?
You can find me at HafeLife, HAFE_life. Yeah, it's confusing. That's where pretty much everything is. I don't get on Twitter because I get too spicy, so everything's there.
Oh, amazing. And yeah, guys, check him out. And yeah, Christian, thank you so much for your time, man.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No worries. Peace out, guys. Thanks very much. Bye.